I'm Eli, nice to meet you.
I don't shake hands with people like you, bro.
He doesn't shake hands with people like me. What do you mean, like Jews?
No, Zionists.
Zionists. Okay, well 97% of Jews are Zionists. What do you say to that?
3% I also won't shake their hands.
You also won't shake the hands of the other 3%.
Yeah.
So you're not shaking hands with any Jews.
No.
One of the big sentiments that we hear is that this is not about the Jews. This is just about Israel. This is about Israel's policies with the Palestinians, that really this has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. And when I hear chants on college campuses against Zionism, that saying Zionism is racism, that Zionists are not allowed to be on campus, that Zionists are seen to be so evil, that really is anti-Semitism.
These people could not care about politics, right? They're using Israel as a scapegoat, right? They're using Israel, they say the word Zionist because it's easier for them to say Zionist, because if they're saying Jew, then it's very easy to call them out for what they are. But by saying Israel, oh, well, they just hate us because of our political opinions, right?
The connection the Jewish people have to this place called Zion, the place called Israel, goes back to the beginning of Judaism. It is a core belief and desire that every Jew has to go back to the land of Israel. We've prayed for it for thousands of years. When two Jews get married under the wedding canopy, they break the glass because they're remembering the fact that they're missing something, that they want to go back to the land of Israel. On Passover, we say L'Shana Haba b'Yushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. There's this yearning that Jews have had for millennia to want to go back to the land of Israel. That's Zionism. Zionism is the belief that the Jewish people are intrinsically connected to this land of Israel, and that no matter where we are, this is the place that we want to go back to.
I never described myself as a Zionist because I didn't think the term was particularly relevant to me, simply because Judaism is an inherent attachment to the land of Israel. Judaism is the obligations to live in the land of Israel once you're able to. So having the political addendum of Zionist, I just never felt it was relevant or helpful. And for the first time, I was being described as such, as a pejorative, as something that is bad or something to be ashamed of. And if defending the Jewish people, if defending the only progressive state, the only democracy in the Middle East, if that makes me a Zionist, then sure, I'm happy to call myself a Zionist.
Zionism is the belief that Jews have a homeland called Israel that was established 3,500 years ago. And our history has been full of anti-Semitism, filled with hate. And it was time for us to come home, to be in a place where we have been for thousands of years, and we can protect ourselves. Zionism is living in Israel in peace with our neighbors, being free to worship and be who we are.
Anti-Zionism has been cloaked in sort of social justice. So somebody that calls themselves an anti-Zionist but not a Jew hater, they'll use the same buzzwords about Zionism that are false, but buzzwords such as colonial project or buzzwords such as occupation, when in reality Zionism is merely the right for Jews to have their ancestral homeland and, be their own self-determination in their ancestral homeland. Anti-Zionism, taking away that right and trying to withhold that right, is absolutely anti-Semitism. It's just as clear, black and white. And frankly, questioning the existence of Israel, what other country's existence is even questioned? So it's clearly anti-Semitic, and unfortunately it's just been the narrative has been flipped for the world at large to think that there is a differentiation, but there absolutely isn't.
Because of the fact that there are a handful of Jews on my campus and other campuses alike that denounce their Zionism, they then are used as a front by the Free Palestine movement in justifying all of the terribly anti-Semitic rhetoric and actions because of those Jews sort of providing shelter on the basis of their anti-Zionism.
The fact that there are Jews that are overtly and loudly anti-Zionist and anti-Israel, many people think that that could lead the public and the world at large to believe that anti-Zionism, in fact, is not equated with anti-Semitism.
How can you say that you're Jewish? How can you shame your own people?
We're all Jews here.
He was against Judaism.
We're Jewish too. We're all Jews here. Right?
Yeah, so how are they saying that?
Because they believe in God.
I'm Jewish, I'm standing it.
I don't want that.
That's our country.
And the Talmud says it's not our country.
That is our country. How dare you say that about our own people?
They don't represent our community. they're that small 3% of Jews that don't represent our community at all.
Jewish or non-Jewish, if you are anti-Zionist, you're anti-Semitic. And that's full stop.
It is the longest and oldest hatred in the world, right? Jew hatred goes back more than 3,000 years.
Since the beginning of the Jewish people's existence, anti-Semitism has been around. From being slaves in Egypt to the story of Haman and Purim to, of course, the onset of Christianity through the Middle Ages, the Spanish Inquisition, obviously leading to the Holocaust. In almost every generation, Jews have been persecuted and discriminated against.
We've seen patterns within, throughout history. When times are rough, point to the Jews. When times are good, it's the Jews that are making times not good. You name it, and we are just, sort of honed in on as the scapegoat, honed in on as the people to be picked on, honed in on as those with power that are smothering those without.
I think over the last number of decades, it's been, a golden era in America where anti-Semitism was thought to be something of the past, of our history. But we know in Judaism, we say it every year on Passover, that B'chol Dor V'Dor, in every generation, they rise up because they hate the Jewish people, they rise up to want to destroy us. And that's sadly and unfortunately, but it's the reality of what it means to be a Jew. It's been part of our Jewish history. So while yes, we were shocked after October 7th, when you really take a step back and look at Jewish history, we shouldn't be surprised. Anti-Semitism has been part and parcel of our people. And it's just today, post-October 7th, is just another flare-up. It's another example of what the Jewish people have always dealt with.
To me, this supernatural element of anti-Semitism really underscores one thing, and that's, the validity and the power of the Torah. The Torah says 3,000 years ago, you will be a dispersed, small, despised people. And you see otherwise intelligent, rational actors, those who are at the upper echelons of our society, university presidents, sophisticated professors, who otherwise are intelligent and rational, saying the most horrific, violent, anti-Semitic hate that I have ever heard in my life.
The Talmud asked the question, why was the Torah given on a mountain called Sinai? And the Talmud gives an answer that there's another word in Hebrew. It's spelled differently, but sounds very similar to Sinai. The word Sina, the word hatred. What does it mean? What happened on Mount Sinai? The Jewish people were made messengers to bring values and morals to the world. But the Talmud tells us that those values and morals also bring Sina. They bring hatred. Why? Because there's a rebellion against those values, right? Not everyone wants to live up to the level of those morals and values. And so there's a rejection against it. Now, no one can wake up in the morning and say, I think today I'm going to be immoral. Today I'm going to hurt people. So the rejection is against the messenger of the Jewish people, by saying, look, those Jews are not living up to their values and morals, or look how corrupt, or look how immoral those Jews are. It takes down the message as well. It takes down the message of the values and the morals, and that's really what Judaism says is the core of anti-Semitism.
People don't quite know how to categorize Jews because we don't quite fit into any of the boxes that have been prescribed to us. And so when you have folks that want to stand on the side of the oppressed, want to stand up for justice and against injustice wherever they see it, and then they're taught in tandem, they're conditioned into believing this false narrative about Jews through this binary, it frankly makes perfect sense to me that you would have so many students and young people that are so vehemently anti-Israel.
These people's ideologies today, the social justice warriors, while they mean well, the truth is they've created a new religion, a new set of morals and values, that the fact that it can lead to supporting terrorists shows how corrupted it is. And again, the moral system that stands up against them, the moral system that they're rejecting, is the morality of Judaism, is the values, the timeless values and morals that Judaism has brought into the world that says, no, you have to know the difference between good and evil. You have to know the difference between those that are standing up for innocent people and those that are targeting innocent people. And Judaism has stood for that for millennia. And so these people who, again, mean well, they also have their target against the Jews because the Jews are the moral system that is standing in their way. The answer is that we have to stand up more for those values and morals. If the anti-Semites are saying, we hate you because of the values and morals that you have brought into the world and you stand for, then the best way to fight anti-Semitism is to embrace those values and morals, to learn more about them, to understand why the anti-Semites are so threatened by them, and to spread them more within ourselves, our families, our communities, and the world.
Thank you for listening to our stories. You've seen the hate spreading like wildfire on campuses across the country. It's hostile, it's isolating, and it's real. But we're not backing down. We're putting our time and energy on the line, but we can't do it alone. Students need more resources and support to stand up against anti-Semitism, and you can help us receive those resources. Right now, there's a crucial election for the World Zionist Congress. My friends, Shabbos, Eli, and I, along with 17 other student activists, are running as part of the Eish Ha'am slate to ensure that critical funding goes where it's needed most, supporting Jewish students. For just $5 and 3 minutes of your time, you can help us access the resources to fight anti-Semitism on our college campuses where it is so sorely needed. Vote now for Eish Ha'am. Take a stand and join us. Thank you.